What's up, everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Falcons in Focus podcast, presented by Ticketmaster and recorded in the Ticketmaster studios. I'm Scott Bair, that's Terrin Waack, man of the hour, Falcons punter Bradley Pinion. And I want to start off here, Bradley, with what hands down is my favorite punt I've ever seen you make.
Okay.
It went about 1.5 yards, and the ball exploded in purple dust. Pink.
Purple works too.
Purple works too, but yeah, pink dust explodes everywhere.
Yeah.
We saw on your Instagram that you're going to be a dad.
Yeah, January.
And that's a pretty legit gender reveal celebration. Give us some background into it. And I guess, are you glad that you actually made contact?
Yeah, that was probably the most nerve-wracking I've ever been for a punt in my life. Give credit to my wife. It was her idea. We were trying to figure out what we wanted to do for a gender reveal. So me and my wife already knew what it was. It was kind of a reveal for all of our friends.
For everybody else, okay.
And we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. And she was like, why don't you punt a football? I was like, oh, that's so like tacky, corny, whatever. And she was like, no, I think it'd be really cool. Like we should punt a football. Well, then she bought a football on Amazon, and so I kind of had no choice but to punt a football.
Right.
But we got the football, and it was plastic, and I was like, this is gonna crush my foot.
Oh,
and I was
true.
like, what? She was like, no, I've watched videos. It'll pop open easy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's going to pop open too easy. It's going to pop up when I drop it. Like,
right.
All these thoughts were going through my head.
There's a lot of things that can go wrong here.
But we ended up kind of taping it shut a little bit. And I was like, all right, I can't miss this. The ball was like only like 2 or 3. It wasn't long. It was only like 4 or 5 inches long. So it wasn't big. Not used to what I'm punting. And sweating, nervous. Right? But no, I made good contact, and pink dust went everywhere, and everybody went crazy. So it was really, really cool, and I'm actually kind of glad my wife made me do it. I wore white shoes in the video, and I kept the shoes that have pink dust all over it. So
that's
it was
awesome.
Kind of cool.
Very cool.
Imagine had you hurt your foot that way?
Yeah, I know, right?
Bye.
Going into Art and be like, hey, Art, I hurt my foot punting a plastic football for a gender reveal. Wouldn't have been good.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation.
So this being a dad for the first time, I mean, I'm sure that you're super pumped about it. You know, I mean, have you put any thought to that? Oh my gosh, I'm going to be a dad.
Yeah,
baby girl.
I know, baby girl. I read probably 3 or 4 books within the first 2 weeks of finding out. I was that dad that just read everything I possibly could. And we're getting closer and closer. I think we only have like 10 to 12 weeks left before she comes. And everything's looking good. Baby's healthy. Mama's healthy. Just super excited to meet her, honestly. Super excited just to be a dad. A lot of my friends call me Bratty Daddy anyway, just because I'm kind of like the dad. I'm kind of like the dad of the group, always making sure everything's going smoothly. So, I'm pumped. We kind of got the nursery a little bit all set up and everything. So it's getting really real. We had a doctor's appointment today, and she's measuring her legs, surprisingly or not, are measuring in like the 90th percentile. So she's gonna have long legs, and who knows, she could be the first female punter. No, I wouldn't do that to her. But no, yeah, she's everything's doing really smoothly right now. I'm super excited.
Are you gonna be an overprotective dad? How overprotective is the real question.
I'm gonna try not to be. Let's put it that way. I don't think I will be. But there's a really good chance I will be. Very, very good chance. Especially with a little girl. Like that's it's gonna tear my heart out.
Not to stress you out.
Yeah, not to stress you out at all. But it's hopefully I won't, but I have a feeling I will be.
That's crazy. Well, while you're a dad to a human for the first time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those puppies.
A lot of them.
You got 4, right?
Got 4, yeah.
And they all start with an N.
They do.
I don't want to mispronounce any of them.
Oh, let's see if you got it.
Nala.
Yep.
Nelly.
Yep.
Novi.
Yep.
And Nemo.
That's correct. Yeah.
And there's a tripod in there.
Yeah, Nemo's the tripod.
I love that you did that hashtag tripod, because I did stalk their Instagram.
Yeah.
And I will be following the puppy's Instagram.
They have their own Instagram page?
Yes.
At the Pinion Pup. Yeah, they got their own
like
Instagram.
Labradors have my heart, so.
Yeah, they're all lab mixes. One full-blood lab. Nellie's a full-blood lab. Nala's a lab staffy mix. Novi is a lab hound mix. And Nemo is the tripod and a lab spin wand mix. And Nemo is our little special guy. He's got all types of things wrong with him, from brain damage to missing a leg to everything. So he's our little special guy. The only boy, so got a little special place in my heart. He's definitely our wildest dog. But no, they're great dogs. Nala is actually certified as a therapy dog. My wife used to be a kindergarten teacher, so she would take her into the classroom, and the kids would read to her and everything along those lines. So Nala's super, super well behaved. That's the reason we have 4 dogs. Is because we got Nala
first, and then it's like,
all are like
they
this.
must all be like this.
then we started trying to like basically clone her, and it never worked. But no, we rescued all of them but one. We had a huge passion for rescuing dogs. We used to actually have a program when I was actually in Tampa. We called it Punts for Pups, and we sponsored dogs from local shelters for every punt inside the 20. And that's kind of, we already had all 4 dogs at that point, but we've always had a passion for dogs, and that just kind of how it happened. We stumbled upon Nemo on an Instagram account and had to have him during COVID. It was a COVID dog. Nobi, we were actually at the shelter looking for our friends for a dog, and the dog walked around the corner, and I went, oh no. And as soon as Kaylee, my wife, saw it, it was one of those like, yep, this dog's coming home with us. Super malnourished, like just skin and bones. Nellie we actually got from a breeder, and then Nala it was actually my birthday present from a shelter when we were in college, like right when we first started dating. So we've had Nala's like I think 11 or 12 now. So we've had dogs our whole relationship. So that's
very cool, and it's cool that you turn that in a way to give back to these needy animals by the punts you get inside of the 20-yard line. Well, you're continuing that trend with punts for a purpose.
Yes.
The floor is yours. Tell us about this and kind of where the origin story of it kind of came from, because it's actually active right now.
Yeah, so Punts for Purpose is a program that I got to give credit to my wife again. She came up with it. We did punts for pups back in the past and kind of wanted to make it even bigger and better, and wanted to involve something that was really close to our heart, which was Compassion International, which is a non-for-profit that does work all around the world for moms and babies in poverty. They team up with local churches in those areas, and they create these centers, they create these survival programs that help the moms before they give birth and right after they give birth up until the child's a year old, and they can get into the actual centers. And it's an amazing program in these overprivileged areas. Moms or babies don't even only have less than I want to say it's not even a 10% chance of making it to their first birthday without help. And the program that Punts for Purpose is donating towards for every punt inside the 20 is the survival programs. Compassion has a campaign going on right now. It's called the Fight for First, and it's that fight for their first birthday. And they're trying to raise a bunch of money to put more and more survival programs out there. That's kind of how Punts for Purpose got started. We got involved with Compassion, got to go over to Tanzania on a mission trip with Compassion. We actually helped open 2 centers in Compassion, or in Tanzania, with Compassion, and it was just super cool experience over there. We and Kaylee were talking the whole time we were over there. We were like 2 seconds from crying, or 2 seconds from the greatest joy we've ever experienced in our lives. So that experience really kind of spearheaded this. We got to do more mentality. We're so fortunate and we're so blessed to be in the position we are and make the money that we make. That we got to do more, we got to give back more. So we started talking with Compassion, and this program kind of came about, and I was like, hey, how cool would it be if we got other punters in the NFL involved? So I just started sliding into DMs, to be honest with you, to all the punters in the NFL that I knew and that I didn't know, and that's kind of how Punts for Purpose got started. I think there's 4 of us that are doing it for the whole year, and then there's going to be a game closer to the holidays where I think about 15 of us in the NFL are doing all for that 1 week, punts inside the 20. So, and if fans want to get involved, there's a link in my Instagram account where you can go to Compassion/Punts for Purpose and donate for every punt inside 20 if you want to do that, like me and my wife and some of the other guys, or you can just do a one-time donation. But it's going to a great cause. And we're just trying to raise as much money as we can to help moms and babies. And it hits a special place in my heart right now with the process that we're going through having a child.
Sure.
We've had a little bit of complications, and without the support that we've had and without the doctors that we've had and stuff like that, I couldn't imagine the stress that these moms have in these extremely remote, extremely poverty, no food, just trying to provide for yourself, not let alone a baby, yet along probably 5 or 6 other kids that you have, and you have no support and no help around you. And we have all the support in the world here in the United States, but these people don't, and that's just something that, especially going through it, just kind of ironic how God works, how we started this program and then got pregnant, and really just furthered our cause and furthered our reason for doing it even more.
That gives you immense perspective in a different way.
It does. It definitely does.
when you went, everybody has an expectation if you're going to a restaurant or down the street or to a different country. But when you went to Tanzania, I don't know what your expectation was, but when you got a chance to meet these individuals that don't have as many advantages, but looking at the photos and some of the things that you put out, they seem like just so happy to be there. And I mean, what was the experience like to hear you talk about it, the passion with which you talk about it? Sounds like it was transformative, at least in certain ways.
Absolutely. It was the first mission trip I've been able to go on. My wife's been on a few, and she was trying to prepare me for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, she couldn't have, and it was really amazing to see these people that have to walk a whole day just to get water, or a whole day to get sticks to build their houses out of mud and sticks. And then you go over there and they're like the most joyful people you've ever met in your entire life. We got the opportunity to go to a Maasai community, and a Maasai community is basically modern day nomads.
Mm-hmm.
They travel kind of wherever the herd travels. And they live in legit mud huts, 5 or 6 of them in a one-room hut, no bigger than we're in the room we're in right now. Probably way smaller actually than the room we're in right now. And there'd be 7, 6, 8 of them living in that one hut.
Wow.
Anywhere from newborn to grandma living in the hut, and to see just the joy that they have, and then them wanting to they made beads, necklaces and bead bracelets and stuff, and then wanting to give you these bead bracelets that who knows what they gave up to get the beads to make the bracelets, and then wanting to give it to you, and them just being so open to be able to go to a church service with them and do just the joy. They fed us. They actually killed a goat, and they don't have stuff so we could eat the goat, and
right.
just the giving that they were willing to do when they had so little. I mean, they had nothing.
Wow.
It was one bed that wasn't even a bed. It was like a straw bed with a blanket over top of it, in a mud hut with a straw roof, and they're trying to protect themselves from lions, because there's lions over there in South Africa. So there's lions. You'd be driving down the road and you'd see a giraffe. So it's you're in the middle of, nothing. And to see the joy that they had, just worshiping the Lord, and the joy to give that they had, it really made a lasting impression on me, where it was man, I am so fortunate. And there's times where I don't want to give and I don't want to be joyful, but they have absolutely nothing. They have to work for absolutely everything. And it just left a lasting impression. I remember it was a 2-hour bus ride to get out to the Maasai community. And I remember the bus ride back, everybody was really quiet on the bus, and you could just tell everybody was kind of letting it soak in. I look over at my wife, and she might kill me for saying this, but there was just tears flowing out of her eyes, and I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? And she was like, it's just so much. And it was just so much to take in that it really took a week or so after we got back to kind of really let it soak in. And you're taking a shower in our extremely nice house, and you're just like, why do I deserve this over these people? I got to change my perspective, and I got to do everything in my power to help those people.
So did Punts for Purpose come out of that trip?
It was an idea before the trip,
okay.
And then it was our mission after the trip.
It was solidified. We are doing this.
The idea came about kind of at the end of last year. We started talking about it, and we're oh, we want to do this. This is something we want to do. And then we opened those centers with Compassion in Tanzania, and then got to go over there and actually meet. You can sponsor children with Compassion also that are in the centers. We actually got to meet our 2 sponsor kids.
What was that like?
It was wild. There's a language barrier, but then there's not a language barrier at the same time, because they speak Swahili, I think is what they speak, and so but you can communicate. It's hard to explain. We're speaking English, they're speaking Swahili, but yet you understand what they're saying at the same time.
Yeah, right.
But that was just awesome. We got to play with them. We got to have a meal with them. They actually traveled 10 hours to meet us by bus. Which is, some of them had never been out of their little village. Mm-hmm. And it was just so impactful to, for instance, we're sitting there eating at the hotel we're staying at, and everybody's picking up the silverware and eating, and you see these 2 little girls that we sponsor looking at the silverware. They'd never used silverware before. And they were 7, 8 years old. And it was just I look at my wife, and I was like, I'm not using silverware. So I just went in with my hands, and it was just to see them be oh, okay, we can use our hands, just because they've never seen silverware. Just little things like that you don't even think twice. We probably know how to use silverware at 1 or 2 years old, or at least you're grasping at it. But they're in their 7, 8, like I said, and they don't know how to use silverware, or they've never seen silverware. You can give them like Christmas gifts and gifts for their family with compassion also. And the Christmas gifts they get or that they're asking for isn't toys, it isn't these things. They're asking for like rice for their family, for like a mattress, for new shoes because they don't have shoes, for school uniforms because a lot of schools over there, if you don't have a uniform, you can't go to school. So just different things along those lines. Just a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
They're like it's so hard to explain, and I can talk for hours about it, and I feel like I go in circles. But it's just so like, and they still had so much joy. They have houses, but they're mud huts, and they're growing their own food and doing these different things. We went into we got to do a day in the life of a Tanzanian person, and we went into this person's house and kind of got to just walk through their morning with them. And their morning was feeding their one chicken that they have that was going to be their meal eventually, tending to their garden, and their garden would be like 2 or 3 plants. And then we got to ask him, like, hey, like, what do you need? He was like, oh, I love another avocado tree. We're like, oh, how much does it cost for an avocado tree? Well, I think they use shingles over there, but in their amount of money, it was like thousands of dollars, but in US dollars, it was like $1 for an avocado tree. And we're like, how many avocado trees can I buy this guy? Like, can I go around the corner and buy them for him?
Avocado forest.
Yeah, right. And then another one was like, oh, I'd love another chicken. Same thing, a chicken was like $2. But like they're working to try to get to these, and it's just so eye-opening of like, wow, like how good we actually have it in the United States. Well, the United States is still messed up in its ways, but like how good we actually have it to have the resources that we have over here. When they like, it was like visiting like a third world, different planet. Like I didn't even feel like I thought I was on a different planet when I was over in Tanzania. It was wild.
That really gives perspective, because at least here it's like we have life rafts, for example. Like if you are homeless, there's something to help you and get through it. And like you said, get to land with that life raft. Yeah. Whereas for them, they don't have that support.
No, not without compassion, they don't have the support. Wow. Or without the compassion, without the local church. And the cool thing about compassion too is they mobilize the church. There's no signs about compassion. There's nothing that's promoting compassion. They are literally like going to the church, setting up the center through the church, and then compassion's goal is to make that village so set up through the church that compassion can pull out and the church can sustain the village. So compassion is just not trying to get any recognition out of it whatsoever. They're just trying to like ultimately go in there, help, and get out. And they've been fortunate enough to where they have been able to get out of some places, and it's still a thriving community. But without compassion, some of these centers and some of these villages would stand no chance.
Yeah, I mean, you've really used your platform being in the NFL. Yeah. You've won a Walter Payton Man of the Year award before with San Francisco. I read a great quote, giving back, that's what I feel like my purpose here on earth is. Yeah. I think that sums up the last 10, 15 minutes of our conversation. Right. And there's no easy way to transition from the seriousness that we're talking about to the next thing, but let's try.
Scott really wanted to.
I did, but
I think I know where we're going.
So in order to reach this platform, you have to have a skill and talent, which you have developed. And again, no easy transition, but I'm dying to know about your kicking origin story. Because if I read it right, it's pretty cool. You got a football as a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
So my grandpa, I'll just start by saying this, was a punter.
Yeah. Earl Mason, right?
Yeah, Earl Mason. He kicked for App State College, and then actually had a shot with the Dallas Cowboys. And then got drafted to go to war. And I started out playing soccer, and my grandpa would always tell me, I had a big leg playing soccer, and my grandpa always told me, hey, you need to learn how to kick a football. You need to learn how to kick a football. And I was like, okay, Grandpa, yeah, I got it. I had no interest in playing football. My older brother played soccer, so that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then about 7th grade, I got a football for Christmas. We lived across the street from the local high school field. We went out to the field that day to kind of play around with the football. We were throwing it. I said, Dad, I want to kick it. I want to see what Grandpa's talking all about. So my dad put it on his foot, and I kicked a 35-yard field goal, first kick I've ever done in my entire life. Went straight down the middle. My dad said, hold up, do that again. Came back, put it on his foot again. I kicked it straight down the middle again. He said, all right, stop. We're going to get you some help.
Grandpa knew.
Yeah, Grandpa knew. But the funny part is I wanted to be a field goal kicker.
You don't look like a football.
No, that's exactly what my dad said.
Those who can't see him stand, he's 6'5".
Yeah, 6'6". Don't short man.
Okay.
6'6". But no, my dad was like, no, you're too big to be a field goal kicker. You need punting. My dad used to force me to punt when we go to practice. And eventually I kind of fell in love with punting and kind of took after my grandpa. I'm actually like a spitting image of my grandpa. Height, facial, everything, spitting image of him. and he actually started kind of like helping me a little with some different techniques, and got some really good coaching. Met a coach in North Carolina named Dan Orner, who I've been working with since about 8th grade.
Wow.
There's probably 10 of us in the NFL that work with him. Huh. And he was actually in my wedding, so he's turned into like one of my best friends / mentor. And it's been awesome just to kind of experience the whirlwind that is getting recruited and then getting drafted and then playing in the NFL for now 9 years. And just all because I got a football for Christmas. And my grandpa begged me to learn how to kick it.
How old were you when you got the football?
It was like 6th or 7th grade. I'm terrible with ages, but it was 6th or 7th grade. I'd never played football before that either. So
wow.
Yeah.
And so your grandfather had a shot.
Yeah, so
got drafted and stuck with.
He had a tryout with Dallas. Dallas was going to sign him, and then got drafted in that time period to go.
Right.
I think it was the Korean War.
Yeah.
And never, when he came back from the Korean War, he just never picked it back up.
Wow, but that's just so crazy, kind of how those things start.
Yeah.
And you've normally kids who start at a younger age have played like another position, but you've always been a specialist.
Yeah, I've never done anything besides kick a ball. I still do kickoffs, but I kicked field goals in high school and a little bit in college, and then done punting the rest of the time. My high school coach, I was one of the bigger guys on my high school team, and he used to beg me to play another position, and I was like, dude, I got no desire. I do not want to get hit like that. So it was, just I actually used to go to football practice for the beginning of it for special teams, leave, go to soccer practice, and then come back for the end of football practice. That's what I did all through. That's what I did all through high school. So that soccer was my first love, is what I call it. But football is the one I got married to. So.
Whoa, that was deep, unexpected. Hello. But if you had to play a different position, I need to know what it would be.
Tight end or quarterback.
I would say built like a tight end.
Yeah. I wish when I got drafted to San Francisco, when I came in, all the people on the team were like, "Oh, we got a new tight end." I was like, "No, sorry guys, I'm a punter."
Tell us something about punting that maybe people don't know.
There's a bunch of different types of punts. So you can have an end over end punt, a spiral punt, a banana punt, a reverse banana punt. I mean, there's so many different. You can make the ball spin different ways to make it bounce backwards, bounce sideways. You can hit line drives, hang time. There's so many different types of punts out there that so many different too. Nowadays, I know people that are hitting the ball with their right foot but putting a lefty spin on it. So like there's so many different things.
So like so much like technique and spin and things like that are happening from the time that you drop it to the time that you kick it. There's so many. That's the crazy.
Most important part of a punt is the drop.
Is it really?
Yeah. So you can have a good leg swing, you can have a bad leg swing and still hit a good punt. But it's all about the drop. If I don't drop it right, then that's the one that's going like 5 yards out of bounds and everybody's booing me off the field. That's that punt. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever just tried to be a switch kicker? Do both legs?
No, I'm not that talented. I'm not that talented.
So this game has taken you to the pinnacle. You own a Super Bowl ring with Tampa, right? I went through your Instagram.
I thought this is where we were going earlier.
Yeah, there were a few topics that I had to bring up being able to sit next to you. One was the punts for purpose.
Yeah.
2 is the origin story. And 3 is something that is in your Instagram page, but not the first photo. It's during...
He scrolled.
It's during the boat parade.
Yeah.
And you're on a boat, and there's a video of you holding... Let's call it a soda.
Yeah. Definitely a soda.
Definitely a soda. And throws it... I'm trying to paint a picture in people's minds. So Bradley is in a boat that's pretty close to the water. And then there's a boat next to him that's like 3 stories
like
up.
Cruise ship
style boat. And he
knows exactly what you're talking about.
He throws an absolute strike to a fan on the top of this cruise ship.
So that was actually
boat.
Vita Vea on the top.
Oh.
Get out of
on the other side.
That's a detail I didn't know.
Yeah, so it was Vita Vea up on the top side.
Zoom.
And winning the Super Bowl was obviously a dream come true.
Sure.
When you play it, that's like the pinnacle of this profession, to be able to play in that game and win it. But the boat parade, I gotta say, was probably cooler. We had so much fun. It was crazy. Part is it got thrown together, basically put together overnight. The Glazers, the owners of the Bucks, did an amazing job throwing it together overnight, and it was definitely like one of those once in a lifetime, like really really cool things to be there with all your teammates that you've worked so hard the whole year to get to that point, and then get to that point, win it, and then have this epic celebration,
right?
Where people were throwing sodas,
from
boat to boat,
and Lombardi trophies.
Yeah,
from
Lombardi
boat to boat.
trophies, and it was just to be able to really celebrate with your team that you've worked so hard with all year long. That was what really made it so cool, was just to see those guys let loose, the guys that really, really deserve it, like the Levante Davids that have been there for forever, the Mike Evans, those guys that really deserved it down there in Tampa. They've been there forever, been through the bad years in Tampa, and to finally have a really good winning season and win it all, it was really cool to see those guys win.
That's awesome.
Everything's more fun on a boat anyway.
I feel like definitely that's especially around that bay. You can, that's fun. We have reached the point of our podcast. I don't know if it's called rapid fire, and it's never very rapid, but everybody gets the same 5 questions. Bradley Pinion, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What was your favorite play of your career? High school, college, pros, whatever.
Not the soda throwing.
Not the soda throwing. Favorite play. Honestly, has to be like the first kickoff I hit in the Super Bowl.
Right.
I didn't hit the opening kickoff, but my first play in the Super Bowl, just kind of that's kind of like what you play the game for, what you work so hard for, and just one of those like never forget moments that you're like, oh man, I'm playing in the Super Bowl. So that I'd have to probably say that one.
You probably don't get nervous anymore, but were you nervous then?
No, oddly not. Like I never get nervous. It's weird. My wife hates it that I don't get nervous about anything. I don't get anxious about anything. I don't really worry about anything.
Okay, I am jealous about that.
Yeah. That sounds kind of great.
Yeah, and so I wasn't nervous. I was just super ready to play the game, ready to get to that point, because there's like a 2-week lull in there. That's you're like just waiting for the game to come. All the media, which sorry, I know media, but all the media, everything leading up to, all the hype leading up to it, you're just ready to play the game, and that readiness was there, but I wouldn't call it nervousness.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Who is your favorite athlete, regardless of the sport?
Ooh. Favorite athlete. I really like boxing. So I'm going to have to go Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Just kind of the way he did the boxing, the way he changed boxing, and then, what he did outside of the boxing ring also, what he stood for. How he wanted to create change. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of principles that you've taken on within that yourself. Is there a TV show, a movie that you're binging that you would recommend? Anything like that?
Literally watched a whole season of the Great British Baking Show yesterday. It's a weird one.
I'm so
I know.
proud of you for that.
It's a weird one.
I love that.
But wife are really in the Great British Baking Show right now. Don't know why.
It's peaceful. Let's
it
be It's like oddly
awesome.
peaceful. The accents too, and the food looks so good.
I know. It made me order some donuts afterwards. But that's another story.
Okay. And on that note, what is your favorite food ever?
No, that's a transition right
there.
That
is a transition.
We did not tell him to do that.
My favorite food, if we're going actual food, it has to be wings. But if we're going like I can really treat myself, I'm a huge ice cream guy.
Yeah.
Ice cream with, this is going to sound weird again, but with rainbow sprinkles.
I like how you go actual food, but then list
ice
cream, as if that is much superior to wings.
It just, I know.
Wings are not actual food, apparently.
I mean, like, one is a grown man order, the other one's like a 5th grader order.
Right,
but that's fine. Eating like a 5th grader is awesome.
The rainbow sprinkles, my wife gives me heck all the time for the rainbow sprinkles. But I keep a jar of rainbow sprinkles in my house, so.
There's nothing wrong with chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and ice cream. Right?
Love that.
I mean, come on.
Love that.
Last one. If you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
To be invisible.
Yeah.
Just because I'm nosy and love to hear what other people say.
Okay.
That's a good reason for it, too. Oh, my gosh. What a perfect note to end an awesome podcast with Bradley Pinion. I'm Scott. That's Terrin. Thank you so much for stopping by. And please rate, review, subscribe to the Atlanta Falcons Podcast Network on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Can I talk today? Or please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can get this as well. Bradley, once again, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll be back with another awesome guest next week. See ya.